This episode of The Casual is brought to you in part by Squarespace. For all your website needs, Squarespace delivers it in an all-around package to help you build a beautiful, integrated online presence.
Let's face it, if you're starting a fashion label, one of the most daunting prospects is manufacturing. Getting your things produced is probably going to be one of the hardest things to wrap your head around. But lucky for you, I'm about to give you a little bit of help with that, which is great. Today, we're talking about two types of manufacturing that every fashion entrepreneur should know about. This is unscripted, but is it really though? Is it really unscripted? Is it? I don't know, but I'm your boy Reggie Casual, which is absolutely true. Let's get it. To be clear, there are several different types of manufacturing processes out there, but the two most popular and the ones you should definitely know about are CMT, cut, make, trim, and fully factored. The reason these two are incredibly popular is that they clearly define what stage your brand is at by how they operate. The fact is, most small brands and startups usually make the big mistake of waiting when it comes to manufacturing because it's so mind-numbingly awful. But once you get used to dealing with the manufacturing process, it's much smoother. Or about as smooth as it can possibly be. It's still mind-numbingly awful, but it gets better. Back to the two types. There are benefits and drawbacks to both CMT and fully factored. So let's line those up so you have a clear indication of what exactly you'll be in for. List! CMT manufacturing stands for cut, make, trim, just like I said before. And that is exactly what they do. In fact, that's about all they do. But for a budding label, this is probably all you need. As with CMT, you are very much a part of the process. CMTs are more often than not smaller and basically supply the labor. Because CMTs are smaller, they rarely have access to raw materials. So you will likely need to supply those as well as the tech packs and patterns for them to work with. The great thing about CMTs is that they tend to work with smaller brands and startups, which a lot of you probably are. They often have low or sometimes even no minimums. This means you got a lot of flexibility if you're a smaller brand or if you release relatively small collections. Fun fact, Japan is well known for its CMT services as they have some of the best garment construction artisans in the world. And because they are highly skilled, it can get quite expensive. I don't know why I added that, but fun Japan fact, because I live here. But that's one issue with CMTs. They tend to be small in the labor department, usually no more than 30 people. And sometimes, especially if you go cheap, the staff aren't as skilled, which can lead to issues of quality. And because all they really offer is the labor, if they make a mistake, you foot that bill, which can be a headache because that means you have to rectify the situation if they F up, which sucks, but I mean, that comes with the territory, I guess. I don't know the words. So that's what CMTs are. And I'll tell you if those pros outweigh the cons at the end. But for now, let's move on to fully factored manufacturing right after a word from our sponsor, Squarespace, because they know all about constructing things. I didn't know how to tie that in. Just listen to the message.
In the fashion industry, the competition is fierce and your presentation has to look solid from jump. That's where Squarespace comes in. Beautifully designed templates, easy to use web building tools, and social integration make Squarespace the perfect choice for the budding entrepreneur or even the savvy professional. Plus, by using our link, squarespace.com/thecasual, you could save 10% when you start. So get that business off the ground the right way and use Squarespace today.
Fully factored manufacturing is the big boy? Big boy? I don't even know why I said it that way, but it sounds great. Today, fully factored manufacturing of varying sizes are what you as a brand owner will likely come into contact with when you do your search. They are usually financially stable, have connections, and make the process pretty easy if you got the cash. And that's the issue. The cash, baby, you gotta have it. All right, enough of that. List. Fully factored is best described as typical manufacturers that you'll come into contact with. That's basically what they are. They usually have standard MOQs, that's minimum order quantities. They are responsible for the entire process. That means once they've learned to make and construct your piece via a sample, they can begin production. They even procure the raw materials for you, which is a plus. Now, you as a brand owner, again, should have a relationship with all your manufacturers, but in the case of Fully Factored, you must have a good business working relationship, because it's gonna come to that. As Fully Factored, manufacturers can often have account managers, pattern making services, sometimes even packaging and distribution connections. So it's really important to have a relationship. They are the real deal and actually the goal for any brand to work with. And that's the point. They are the goal. Because the advantages are plenty, but namely, Fully Factored manufacturers are just more simple to work with once you get to that stage. It leaves more time for you to work on the business of your brand, and the services are plentiful depending on their specialty. They handle the pattern cutting, the sampling, the procurement, and accounting. Essentially, everything is in one place. It's awesome. They're fantastic. However, Fully Factored manufacturing for small and new brands is basically bringing a knife into a gunfight. Best believe if you are not versed in the language of manufacturing, they will chew you up, spit you out, and literally make you feel like a pure turd in the toilet. Not joking. Fully Factored manufacturing are usually not contacted by brand owners unless the brand has some major startup cash, and they can be very harsh to newcomers, like directly in your ear, to your face. They'll tell you on the phone, "Nah, we can't help you." Or something like that. Or they'll be like, "Do you know exactly what you're doing? You don't know what you're doing. Because you sound pretty young and we're pretty big." Trust me, I've had these conversations before trying to prove I actually knew about the process, but because my voice arguably sounds youthful, they were like, "Nah, you're not ready, bro. Put some more bass in there." So the next time I called, I had to sound like Megatron. Rhyme. But I digress. Another point is that you lose a lot of the control of the creative process, which can be kind of a bummer for a creative person. And they tend to be more expensive, obviously, because they're doing pretty much everything, right? You're gonna have to pay them more. And as a result, you kind of lose a more intimate relationship with the manufacturer on the creative side. However, if you come through consistently, Fully Factored setups will give you preferential treatment, which is why it's best to be pretty well established if you choose to go Fully Factored and establish a good business working relationship. Just keep bringing them dollars. Just keep on giving them money and they'll be fine. They also take on a lot more risk and can be shady because of that, because they'll lose money if they make a mistake. So a bad Fully Factored manufacturer will cover up mistakes that even the designer may not notice, sending out what was thought to be a finished product only to find out that it isn't. And your customers are just like, "What is going on? This is not the piece." That sucks. It's why picking the right manufacturer with a track record is so important. If they are known for good work, then the trust is already built in, they have a lot of experience, and you don't have to worry as much. So now you know, but which is the best for you? Well, if you're just starting, CMT is simply the best way to go, especially if your focus is on cut and sew. The disadvantages can be mitigated by choosing a reputable CMT, and the closer they are to your locale, the better. That way you can sniff out problems before, I don't even know why I did that. Sniff out problems before they start. And if you wanna give them some testing, have them make a sample. See if they can do what you need them to do. And then if they do a good job, give them a try. Give them a try. You'll be close to the action, and honestly, it's a fantastic time if you can get it to run smoothly, because you'll actually be running a brand directly, which is like the dream, right? It's hard work, but it's incredibly rewarding. It's like, yo, I'm making stuff. This is awesome. I'm in the manufacturing, I'm making stuff. It's crazy. That's how you'll feel. That's you. Once you've scaled up considerably, focus on that word, it's very likely you'll have to move on to Fully Factored so you can concentrate more on the business, but you have to truly be ready. A lot of brands end up moving too fast and move on to Fully Factored too early, which can lead to a brand's early demise. Of course, many manufacturers are becoming a hybrid of the two, so keep that in mind. As smaller, more intimate brands are starting at such a rapid pace, many Fully Factored manufacturers are beginning to make CMT branches that are catered towards the changing market, which is awesome. So best thing to do is just ask them. A lot of them can do what you need them to do. And you can often negotiate MOQs, and they can also provide materials if you need them to. You gotta be fearless. That's the whole game. You gotta be knowledgeable, you gotta be fearless. Those are 2 things you need, along with the 2 manufacturers that you should know about. So do your thing. Get out there and make some clothes. I'll be watching, and hopefully you'll still have something to ask, say, or do about it. So let all of that be known in the comments. And as always, keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And I'll see you guys on overtime. For those of you who are going to overtime. It's fantastic. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty. Oh, toss a coin to your witcher, a friend to humanity. That's my Witcher song. I've been watching The Witcher. Watch The Witcher, it's actually a good show. I was skeptical at first, but I'm a believer. I'm a believer. Henry Cavill, Superman. Superman. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give a thumbs up if you liked the video. Follow on Instagram for the latest out of Japan and beyond. And if you want even more content and business tips, all you gotta do is become a member right here on YouTube or Patreon at patreon.com/TheCasual. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international street fashion and culture from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.